Hey guys, welcome back. Interesting video, hopefully. I've got a load of carburettor work on the go at the moment, having a carburettor week. One of the jobs are these NC30 VFR400 carburettors, and I don't get an opportunity to do full restoration of carburettors that often, just because the cost implications are fairly ginormous for the customer. So these, basically, the brief is make them brand new. He's doing a concourse restoration of a VFR400, and they're seized up solid. You know, the choke mechanisms work. It's just, they're fairly horrific. So we're going to turn them into a new set of carburettors, which is basically going to involve completely stripping literally every single component, every screw, every washer, you get the idea. Everything is either going to be vapor blasted, re-zinc plated, or replaced with new to basically make them look brand new again. So I'll sort of bring you in at various points along the way and just share the process. I think some of you might find that interesting. Right, so the first job is to take them apart as much as possible. Some of it might refuse to come apart. We'll just have to see how we go. There's various ways of unseizing stuff, obviously. If I get to any really tricky bits, I'll bring you in and share, but next shot will probably be these all in a million pieces. Having a bit of a nightmare. Everything is absolutely rock solid. It's the end of the day now. Hopefully you can hear me too. My diesel heater in the workshop is quite noisy. It's like being in a bloody hurricane when I'm this close to it. Yeah, so it's the end of the day now, and I'm tired. I've had a big long day, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give them a soak with penetrating oil, leave them overnight, just see if I can free some of this stuff up. It's absolutely rock solid. The issue you have is, and I speak from experience, the aluminium, where a lot of these pieces pass through, it's very, very fragile. You've got to be super careful, you know, to not damage it. These carburetors are worth a small fortune. They're unobtainium at this point, so you can't be breaking any parts. I'll soak them in penetrating oil. If with a little bit of a tappy, nothing wants to show signs of moving, the plan usually for this sort of thing is I've got some, I'll flash a picture of it on the screen, but I've got some rust removing fluid for my ultrasonic tank, which seems to be sort of quite a good penetrant. So you just super hot ultrasonic tank with some of that as a cleaning fluid, and just dunk the carbs in as they are. Obviously they're coming apart anyway, so it doesn't really matter where the ultrasonic cleaning fluid gets, and that'll remove all this rust, and it penetrates in, and you can usually free stuff off that way. A couple of hours in the ultrasonic tank at 80 degrees will probably help, because I can't risk, as you can probably appreciate, you can't risk damaging anything. We'll get them apart, and once they're apart, you know, everything can be vapor blasted and then re-zinc plated, and you know, we can make it all beautiful, but it's all got to come apart for that to happen. Right, so I'll leave them soak overnight. I think I've earned myself a beer, so I'm going to go and have a beer and have a sit down, ponder life, and I'll be back in the morning. Right, okay, back at it. Today is tomorrow, so the next day they've had a bit of a soak in penetrating oil. My go-to is GT85 for penetratey stuff. Obviously everybody's got their favourite. I'm not particularly a fan of WD-40. I've tried all sorts of stuff over the years. This is sort of I get through gallons of this stuff. This is my go-to. Yeah, no dice. It's all just rock solid still. So we're going to give them a bit of a hot bath in this corrosion removey ultrasonic fluid stuff. The company that makes this is a really good product, and I've used lots of it over the years. The company that makes this also make a carburetor cleaner. I'll flash it on the screen. Yeah, don't buy it. It's absolutely pants. My chemist friend that makes my spray-on carburetor cleaner for getting rid of the varnish contamination mixes me up some stuff for my ultrasonic tank for, you know, general ultrasonic cleaning of carb bodies and stuff. and that is, it's, I don't know, I think he should market it, to be honest with you, the guy. It's brilliant, because it doesn't, if anybody's ever ultrasonically cleaned a carburetor body, they'll know, you'll know that they go sort of dull and grey. They're clean, but they look horrible. This formula this guy's figured out for me, it cleans all the crap out, but it doesn't dull the aluminium, which is bloody brilliant. Some sort of, I don't understand the chemistry, maybe some sort of brightener in there or something, but the aluminium almost comes out shinier and clean, not dull. Anyway, it's not an advert for ultrasonic cleaning fluid. Right, so I'm gonna put these in that tank now, and cook them for an hour, and hopefully we'll have half a chance of getting them apart. Speak properly, Jim. Getting them apart without damaging anything. Right, onwards. So the other thing I think I need to add before we go any further, just in case it's not clear, is I'm not putting them in the ultrasonic tank now to clean them. This is not part of the cleaning process. This is just to unseize the choke push rods and all the bits and pieces that are, you know, all the screws that are likely to be seized. That's the point of this process. The actual cleaning, I'll get to that in a little while, but people, how to put this, people bang on about ultrasonic tanks like they're the bloody holy grail of carburetor cleaning, and they are absolutely not. They have their place, but an awful lot of the carburettors I see, and I see a lot of carburettors, have already been ultrasonically cleaned, and it's just a car crash. I'll explain why a little bit later on in the video, but anyway, these are going to get de-rusted, if you like, in this fluid, and then I can actually take them apart and start cleaning them properly. Anyway, I just thought I'd clarify that bit for you. I'm also just sort of taking, before they go in the tank, I'm also just taking them apart as much as possible. So I've got them, although everything's seized up, I've got the little brackets and stuff that separate them, that hold them together, and the screws and stuff, just so I can, because these are, if you've ever worked on carbs like this, you'll know that one of the float ball screws is impossible to get to. So there, I've sort of got the brackets holding them together out the way. So I'm just gonna get the floats out, get the bits and pieces that easily come out. They're actually, I'm quite surprised inside. I mean, they're fairly disgusting and seriously in need of being cleaned. But in terms of varnish contamination, not bad at all. So when they were last left, they were obviously left dry without fuel in, which has saved them a little bit, because sometimes you take the float balls off and it's literally just goo in there. But anyway, yeah, so just taking as much of them apart as I can before they go in the tank. So they're in there ready to go. I've also put the float bowls and the carb tops and the other bits and pieces. Normally they would go in the normal cleaning solution, but given that I'm cooking these anyway in here to get rid of the rust and the corrosion, the carb tops and float bowls, they're going to go into the blasting tank next, so it doesn't really matter how they're cleaned, so long as I get the worst off them before they go in the vapor blasting cabinet, so we're not contaminating the glass media and the blasting cabinet too much. So fingers in your ears, because I don't think my mic is going to like this very much. See you in a couple of hours. Well, that's turned to soup. Let's have a burn my fingers, it's so blooming hot. Well, the rust's gone. Let's get them out, rinse them off, see if stuff is free or not. Right, so that was successful. So that chemical they've just been in, it's not a degreaser at all, so all it's doing is removing rust. But you can see that, I mean, they've literally, these shafts were seized in. They're basically, the carbs were falling apart when I took them out of the tank. So they've, yeah, they're not going to win any beauty competitions, but they're de-rusted enough to get apart, which is exactly what I wanted. So now I can completely separate the bodies from one another, strip them completely. Then we'll do the chemical cleaning to make sure there's no blockages internally. and then we'll move on to vapor blasting, and we can talk about which pieces we're going to re-zinc plate. And there's different ways of skinning it, in that we can remove these shafts or not. It just, yeah, there's lots of variables. Really depends on the carburettors and the state they're in, really. No two are ever the same. Right, I think that'll probably do it for part 1 of this. I'll get these stripped and everything laid out, and then we can make our assessment and then get moving forward. Awesome. Right, see you on the next one. Bye.